from deposited energy in silicon, which is what we measure with this detector, into a more biologically equivalent value that we can utilize for crew protection. One of the key pieces, I think, that if we can capture would be outstanding is getting data from a radiation event, a solar storm on the moon, while crew are not there. That would be ideal from the standpoint of being able to get the data without putting crew at risk, and then utilizing that data to prepare for crew protection during the lunar operations.
NASA Science Technology Mission Director had a hand in today's launch. Small businesses, large businesses, international partners, heavyweight agencies, astronauts, so is that essentially like seed money? Is that how it's we're partners, right? We're partners in this. We say partners, we're going together, and we mean it. We're invested hand in hand in this. And how have those financial awards, how have those helped Astrobotic? So, for example, not only do we have science and different payloads aboard the mission,
this is very exciting
actually
morning.
Parts of the lander itself, like
this is Kriss here. Welcome. We're going to be live with this broadcast.
Terrain
we will
relative
blow it up
navigation that helps to
we
make sure
get to
that they can land in safe spots. You know, the moon can be very treacherous. And also the axial thruster engines on the lander itself are brand new engines that have never been flown before that we're testing on the moon together.
How does it feel to see technologies that your directorate developed, you know, helping us get back to the moon?
There are not words. I really get goosebumps. And, you know, the funny thing is, if you'd asked me as a child, of course, it's the amazing engineering and science feats that we see happening. But as a child that was raised in a family of a small business, doing this together with small businesses, this being our NASA and going together to the moon, is really just incredible.
So that's what we're looking at.
Just what do you think about that? Again, that we're bringing in as many as we can with us back to
you know what I think?
Dogecoin
I think that means success. Right? I think it's going to require all of us and our mutual strengths to make it happen.
Hard to hear me.
I really appreciate you being here, and I hope you see a beautiful launch today.
Me too. Let's go.
All right, we're just about under 31 minutes to the opening of today's 45-minute launch window. After Peregrine 1 today, Astrobotic will deliver another payload for us, and that's our Viper rover later this year.
We'll get that. Now you can hear me fine. Let me get the screen share going again.
Another important lunar delivery.
There.
Viper is short for volatiles investigating polar exploration.
All right, now you should be able to hear me fine. And we'll crank up the volume on the launch when we get to the countdown. They're doing a lot of this sort of explanation type stuff of what's included with the Peregrine lander, of which the moon box with the Dogecoin is in the Peregrine lander, but they've got some other stuff in there as well that's going to, some NASA equipment that's going to be on the moon as well, doing some scientific experiments, things like that. We're, of course, most interested in the moon box, but they're not going to be talking about that as much. But we do have, for those just joining, we do have the Dogecoin price here now at 7.85 cents. It has gone up over the last hour here. It was looking pretty low here down at 7.6. So we'll see if it can move up more towards 8 cents. But this is nice after this after the dip we had last night. So very good. So very exciting. Where's everybody from? I do see Matt Benici is in Malta, so he's having his breakfast. I've got my coffee here in Boston. So cheers. I got my penguin mug here today. And I'm going to actually drop down in the corner here. There we go. So we can see that pretty well. Atlas is in New York, not too far away. Suraj from India, welcome. Indiana, Aiden, Vincent in Ireland. Good morning to you, Vincent. Denise is in Maryland. Welcome. Alicia, North Carolina. David, Orlando. Atala, it's still Sunday night where you are in San Francisco. That's awesome. Jacek from Poland. Davy Boy from Bangkok. Don Jose, Amarillo, Texas. You're working. You've got a overnight shift, I guess, huh? All right, so George asks, I thought Doge 1 rocket launch was postponed, or is it something different? Yes, you haven't been watching me. You haven't been watching me. There's 2 rocket launches to the moon. There's 2 projects. This is the ULA project with Astrobotic. You see Astrobotic on the screen there. Astrobotic is the ones that have the Peregrine launch or lander, and that lander has in it a moon box, and in that moon box is, if I go to Twitter, X, yeah, I really didn't want to do that. Yeah, I'm going to go back to TradingView on that. We wanted to go to this one. This is the ULA page on X Twitter. There's the launch that's going to be happening. ULA says that everything is on for the 2:18 a.m. launch window liftoff time. So that's what we're looking for. But the Doge 1 mission, which is the SpaceX mission, is happening in February. That's the second one. That has the Doge 1 CubeSat. That's the satellite that's going to go around the moon and broadcast images and other things back to Earth. That happens in February. This is the first one. This is ULA with the Astrobotic Peregrine lander that has the Dogecoin on it. So Dogecoin to the moon happens on this one. And then in February, we're going to do the SpaceX launch for the Doge 1 mission, which is the CubeSat. So, okay, 2 projects. It's right now, the launch window is February 12th through 16th right now, according to SpaceX. There's the Space TV thing that's showing February 3rd still. I showed that in my video on Saturday, but that is not up to date with what SpaceX is saying, which is a launch window February 12th through 16th. So we'll be doing this again, maybe not at 2 o'clock in the morning, because last month someone said, hey, Kriss, you should do a live stream with this rocket launch. I said, yeah, I think I'll do that. At that time, I didn't know it was going to be the middle of the night. But here we are. Okay, we've got Military Jock in California, AWOL's in the Bay Area. It's still Sunday night where you guys are. Georgia, New Zealand. Cool, cool. Mars. Oh, you're in Virginia. Didn't know that. That's not too far. Dawid in France. And Shart, welcome. Welcome to the stream.
Staying up late or getting up early with us for today's exciting first launch, Vulcan's Certification Flight 1, or Cert 1. This is the first of 2 planned test flights to support full certification of the Vulcan rocket for U.S. government missions. On board the Vulcan rocket today is Astrobotic's Peregrine commercial lunar lander on a mission to intercept the moon, and the Celestis Memorial Spaceflight Payload Enterprise, flying to deep space with the Centaur upper stage. Liftoff is scheduled for 2:18:38 a.m. Eastern, and we have a 45-minute launch window this morning. In addition to watching our webcast, you can also follow the live mission progress at ulalaunch.com. About 30 minutes ago, the count entered a 60-minute planned hold. We have 2 planned holds in our launch count, which give our team additional time to resolve any issues prior to entering the terminal count. At this time, the team is not working any issues, and we're proceeding towards an on-time liftoff. We're excited to partner with NASA on today's live broadcast. Together, we'll be continuing our coverage through end of mission.
We'll see how long we go after launch.
Building on more than 120 years of combined Atlas and Delta launch experience, ULA's Vulcan rocket introduces a balance of new technologies and innovative features.
Okay, they're going to go into some marketing stuff. We got the update there. Still on track for 2:18. So that's like 22, 23 minutes from now. All right, AWOL, great question. So according to ULA, the rocket launched this morning. This is like 3 minutes, 4 minutes is what we're going to see, and then it's going to be out in space. It's not going to get to the moon until mid-February. There's going to be some orbiting going around the moon until the lander itself then deploys and lands on the moon, right now scheduled for February 23rd or 24th. So it's like a month and a half from now until the actual Dogecoin is on the moon. This is just the launch. There were some people posting, yes, a Dogecoin is going to be on the moon on Monday. No, this is the launch. And then we will get to being on the moon in February. So that's the timeline that I know. So, good morning, Hassan. How are you? Welcome, welcome. Welcome, everybody. Exciting morning here in East Coast United States, where I'm located and where Cape Canaveral is, which is on the east coast of Florida, about halfway up. That is where many, many NASA flights have taken off from. And that is where we have the ULA launch this morning. It's called a certification launch in that it has 2 major rocket launches to do before it can do sort of serious NASA missions. ULA is a private company, which is kind of, it's like a SpaceX. They're kind of in competition, but they do different things. So, I mean, SpaceX has these grander visions, right, of like going to Mars, and ULA doesn't have that. But ULA does have this commercial project along with it, which is run by Astrobotic on this flight, which has the moon box in it, which a bunch of people paid for stuff to go into the moon box, including the Dogecoin community, which they started saving for this, I want to say 8 years ago. It was like 8 years ago. And so it's the Dogecoin community that paid for this Dogecoin to be on this flight. So that's what we're here for. And yeah, thanks, Charles. Everybody press the like, appreciate that. Get this out to more people in the YouTube universe to maybe come in and watch.
Bruno, Tori, thank you so much for joining us on this.
Let's see what we got. Oh, the president of ULA is here.
Vulcan team for a number of years, so I know how focused the whole ULA team has been.
I've never seen him before.
Teams that came together to design, build, and now launch this rocket.
I am so proud of our people, and I think we had exactly the best possible team. We've got folks that
hi Phil,
rockets
hi Beck,
like Atlas and Delta.
Glad you could join us.
We also have the majority of our team, people like yourself, that are earlier in their career, know the new tools, aren't sort of handcuffed by some of the conventions that we used before, and can do really creative and innovative work while also not making the mistakes of the past.
Absolutely. And, Vulcan is such a unique rocket. What are you most proud of about this vehicle?
I'm really proud of the fact that we still service the high energy marketplace, a unique thing that is really important to our nation's security.
Hi, Gofi. Yes. We were just explaining that this is the rocket launch, actually not going to get to the moon until mid-February. It's going to do some orbiting for a few days, and then it's going to land on the moon. Right now, targeting about February 23rd for the Peregrine lander, which is Astrobotic's piece that's up here at the top. There's a piece up here. That piece is going to break off from the rest of the rocket sometime this morning. I don't know the exact timing of when that separation happens. And that's the part that goes to the moon. We have 18 minutes until launch. 18 more minutes.
Thank you.
I think we're going to join the NASA coverage now. The first 30 minutes starting at 1:30 was all about ULA and Astrobotic. And then they're going to feed in with NASA. That should start now. We also have the Dogecoin price right
On board the Vulcan
here.
rocket today is Astrobotic's
And we'll be
Peregrine
watching
commercial lunar lander.
the Dogecoin price as well.
Peregrine is the first spacecraft in NASA's new CLIPS initiative to have American companies send its science experiments to the moon.
Astrobotic is a full-service lunar company. It starts with our terrestrial testing. And
Okay, it's going to do this Astrobotic commercial here, so we can turn that down. We have 16 minutes until launch. T-minus 16 minutes until launch. The Doge chart is looking pretty bad overall. And I'll be talking about this at 5 o'clock p.m. I'm going to have another live stream, my typical Monday, 5 o'clock p.m. live stream. And we'll be talking about altcoins versus Bitcoin, including Doge, and how the altcoins have really been taking a hit so far in 2024, but Bitcoin is still holding strong. And so 5 o'clock p.m. or 12, 30, 15 hours from now. Launch is coming in 16 minutes. This is live view of the rocket in Cape Canaveral, Florida.
Today's Vulcan rocket is the Celestis Memorial Spaceflight Payload. Let's learn more about this mission.
Celestis's Enterprise flight carries.
Okay, they're going to do more ads, more commercials on what's on the payload. They haven't talked about the moon box yet.
Two carriers that are mounted to the forward adapter on ULA's Centaur upper stage. The carriers will remain affixed to ULA's Centaur as it travels into a heliocentric orbit around the sun.
Anybody else who's just joined, if you can put in the chat where you're from, certainly appreciate it. We have people from all over the world here, which is awesome. Switch has a great question. Why isn't this out there in the media? It is a moon landing. Maybe it's just the launch. Maybe people don't believe it's actually going to happen because it's ULA, which is a private company like SpaceX. It's not like the NASA Apollo missions. I don't know why this isn't more out there.
Today's rocket includes the American flag across the inner stage, as well as logos on the payload fairing representing ULA, Vulcan, and Astrobotic. While this is the inaugural launch of the Vulcan rocket,
Doge to the Moon's in Cleveland. Hey, Cleveland rocks. I know that.
Let's learn more about this.
Julian's in Fort Lauderdale area. Welcome. Pietro, Gold Country, California. It's still Sunday night there. William in Dallas. Welcome. I'm going to mess up your name. Sihangir from Belgium. Hassan's on Long Island, North Fork or South Fork, or are you closer to the city? There's a few launches today, Charlie. I don't know that. Eric in South Dakota, welcome. And Phil's in Aussie, down under. You're in your summertime now. We watch the Australian Open usually with tennis. We're big Ben Shelton fans from the United States. That's who we like. South Fork. Good. I have relatives who are in Cutchogue on the North Fork. I take the ferry down from Connecticut.
Spacecraft are encapsulated inside a protected 5.4-meter diameter payload.
Mr. Cliffhanger from Southern Illinois, welcome. Switch is in Lodi, California. Hey, Low Roller, welcome. We're having some fun here, middle of the night, up for this exciting rocket launch in about 13 minutes. Yeah, we were just talking about this, Low Roller. Why didn't Doge go up? There's just not a lot of media coverage of this. It's very surprising. There's not a lot of media coverage.
Lastly, the encapsulated payload fairing is lifted and mated to the Vulcan rocket. Once fully assembled, the launch countdown begins.
Kev from Rensselaer? Yeah. At 5 o'clock, we'll be talking about altcoins. So about 15 hours from now, I'll be live again, and we'll be talking about Bitcoin, altcoins, what's going on with the altcoin market, because there's a lot of red in the altcoins. You told your relatives and friends, and they're like, whatever, they don't care. God. So Julian, welcome. You haven't been following me. I've been doing a series of tweets or posts on X Twitter, as well as videos here on YouTube, that on board, this right up here is a lunar lander, and on that lunar lander is a moon box, and in the moon box is a physical Dogecoin and a bunch of papers there. Well, let's listen in.
Hold on channel 1, identify the station and briefly state the reason for the hold. RLM, verify redline monitor and event table or the correct configuration for terminal count. Verified.
As we approach the terminal count poll, let's check in on today's weather. The Space Launch Delta 45 forecast for this morning's launch is looking good. The probability of violating launch constraints is 15%. Ground winds are 15 to 20 knots out of the north, and the temperature is 57 degrees.
Yeah, that would have been awesome if they actually put a Dogecoin logo on the rocket itself, but I guess we couldn't afford that. We just have the Dogecoin on the lander that's in the rocket. So, yeah, a bunch of my users hate Dogecoin, but yet they're still subscribed to me. They still watch my videos, and so I let them comment, which is fine. Everybody has an opinion.
In a few moments, launch conductor Dylan Rice will poll the launch team for the final go to pick up the count. 29 engineers and managers are polled for system status and readiness to proceed. This is the final status check for all Vulcan vehicle systems, ground systems, spacecraft, and the U.S. Space Force Eastern Range. The vehicle system readiness poll includes electrical systems, hydraulics, pneumatics, propulsion.
So for those that are curious,
and propellants.
While they're doing that,
let's listen in as Dylan Rice performs the final polling.
The status check.
my profile on X Twitter, follow me at Kriss. I've been posting all of the stuff leading up, and here is the post about Dogecoin on the moon. There is a payload that has a physical Dogecoin that's on the Peregrine lander, that's at the top of the ULA Vulcan Centaur rocket, launching on this date, January 8th. So go to my X Twitter account and you can see more about this, as well as other things that I've posted about the lander. All of the information is right there. Okay?
Go. ULA safety officer. Go. Vehicle system engineer.
Go.
Anomaly chief. Go. Range coordinator. Clear to proceed. Launch director. You have permission to launch. Proceeding with the count.
Permission to launch.
Verify T0 is set for 071838 Zulu. Verified.
Polling is complete and the team is go for launch. From T-minus 7 minutes until liftoff, you'll hear Dylan Rice and the team performing the final steps in the countdown procedure. Several critical activities occur in the final minutes before launch.
Yeah, will the SpaceX launch in February actually have a Doge logo on the rocket? That will be cool. We will be watching for that. That's for sure. But this is not, for those just joining, this is not the SpaceX launch. This is ULA. This is in Cape Canaveral, Florida, launching in about 8 minutes.
Will ignite, followed a second later by initiation of the launch pad water deluge system. At T-minus 3 seconds, the main engines ignite. Then, after seeing Vulcan's first ever liftoff from Slick 41.
Yeah, we don't do politics on this channel, Danny.
Providing launch vehicle ascent data.
Danny, please. Yeah, I don't know what you'll see from Fort Lauderdale, or you can see up that far or not. You might.
This is Vulcan Mission Control at T-minus 7 minutes and holding. We anticipate releasing the hold in just a few moments.
On my mark, the time will be T-minus 7 minutes and counting. 3, 2, 1, mark. 6:55. Ground pyros enabled.
The countdown clock has resumed, and we are go for launch at 2:18:38 a.m. Eastern.
All right. Hey, Anthony, how are you? Welcome. Literal Dogecoin to the literal moon.
After liftoff, ULA's Vulcan rocket will head east from Space Launch Complex 41. Here's a look at today's ascent.
Following final confirmation of rocket and payload readiness, 2 GEM 63XL solid rocket boosters and twin BE-4 engines produce more than 1.7 million pounds of thrust to lift ULA's Vulcan rocket away from Cape Canaveral Space Launch Complex 41.
Thank you, Denise. Yeah, this is
Shortly after liftoff,
it's gonna be cool.
the rocket begins a pitch over to attain the proper flight path while minimizing the dynamic pressure it experiences during flight. Vulcan then reaches Mach 1, the speed of sound. With the ability to add 2, 4, or 6 solid rocket boosters, or SRBs, Vulcan can be precisely configured to take any mission to space, from low Earth orbit to Pluto and beyond. These boosters augment the rocket's total thrust at liftoff, adding approximately 460,000 pounds of thrust per SRB.
Okay.
With their propellant expired approximately 90 seconds into ascent, the SRBs burn out, followed by jettison. Jettison time.
Thank you, Jose. Appreciate it.
Between 100
We're having fun.
and 150 seconds after liftoff, depending on mission.
Trying to have fun. I mean, that's the thing about Dogecoin, right? But I do other cryptos too. So join me on my live streams every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 5 o'clock p.m. East Coast time.
With the majority of propellant expended,
But tonight,
fights against the force of gravity. The BE-4 engines shut down, and the booster stage separates.
for me, Julian, I have almost 3 million Dogecoin now. I have been continuing to accumulate.
Centaur upper stage ignite. Spacecraft are encapsulated inside of 5.
We're not going to see a pump,
payload fairing,
Phil.
which provides a protective environment during ascent.
For those thinking there's going to be a big Dogecoin pump, there's just no,
First burn complete.
this just isn't huge news. It's the middle of the night. Only the Dogecoin community cares about this. I don't know. Some of you are here watching the launch.
Powering the vehicle into a trans-lunar injection orbit.
Yeah, 3 million times 7.8 cents, whatever that adds up to. That's my current Dogecoin amount.
More than 220,000 miles above Earth, where it will intercept the moon. Following delivery of the Peregrine spacecraft, Centaur comes alive for a third and final burn to reach a heliocentric orbit around the sun. Centaur completes the CERT-1 mission by carrying Celestis' Memorial spaceflight payload into deep space. Known as the Enterprise flight, this mission includes 234 flight capsules containing cremated remains.
Yeah, we don't need to hear about that. Yeah, we talk on my 5 o'clock p.m. live streams about crypto holdings between Bitcoin, altcoins, Dogecoin, and we get into a lot of detail about different targets that people have, things like that. I bought my physical Dogecoin that I have here on Amazon. It's an Amazon thing that I have here. And I have a new one that I just got that's in a plastic case that is going to be a giveaway. Probably in February, we're going to do a giveaway of this physical Dogecoin. We're not going to see a pump, Charlie.
$238. $230. TLO2 DLP started.
A little over 2 minutes till launch. Yeah, this will be a free giveaway for this physical Dogecoin that I'm going to have next month. Yeah, I'll probably be live if there's a Bitcoin ETF announcement. That'll be exciting.
T-minus 2 minutes. The launch vehicle, payload, ground systems, and Eastern Range are go for launch.
All right.
For those of you just joining, I'm Amanda Sterling, and I'm your host for today's live coverage of the inaugural Vulcan rocket launch. The team is not working any issues, and we're on track for an on-time liftoff at 2:18:38 a.m. Eastern Time.
FCS arm.
Yeah, I wish so too, Low Roller. I wish there was a big Doge logo on it.
120. SCS count started.
We have Vulcan, Astrobotic, and ULA. The Astrobotic is the one, that's the piece that has the Dogecoin in it. Hey, Curtis, welcome. Good morning.
Operate normally.
Yeah, my stream is delayed a little bit. That's correct.
Vehicles continue to fly down the center of the range track. Everything looking good. 33 miles in altitude, 52 miles downrange, traveling at 4,000 miles per hour. Continue to see excellent performance out of the BE4s.
They're not going to mention Dogecoin, Low Roller.
Vehicle steadily accelerating, a little over 2 Gs at this time. Good body rates. Nice and smooth operation of the booster. 47 miles in altitude, 95 miles downrange at 5,500 miles per hour. Engines continue to burn normally, everything looking good.
I don't know what kind exactly
And
of
the vehicle now weighs
physical
1/4
Dogecoin
weight
is in there.
Pass through the Kármán line.
I don't think it's one of these, like what I got on Amazon. I think it's a better one than this, but I don't know.
Booster mains continue to operate normally. And we've begun boost phase chill. Housing temps are dropping as expected.
Okay, 10 more seconds.
Coming up to the end of boost phase, approximately 10 seconds to pico. Throttle down in preparation for BECO. We've completed boost phase chill down. And we have cutoff. Coming up on Vulcan Centaur separation. We have Vulcan Centaur separation. Everything looking good. Coming up on the Centaur phase. And experiencing a bit of data loss here. We've recovered the data. It's like Centaur engines are up and running normally, good steady state pressure, and we've just jettisoned the payload pairing. 2 good brake wires.
Animation.
And good steady state operating levels on the Centaur mains. 2 good engines. Gone to open loop control on Centaur PU.
This is Vulcan Mission Control at T plus 5 minutes 57 seconds. We just heard flight commentator Rob Gannon confirm the successful completion of the early phase of the flight, and all systems continue to operate nominally. Our next event, main engine cutoff, will occur in about 10 minutes. While we wait, I'm joined by Amanda Piketty, ULA Director of Vehicle Upgrades. Amanda, thank you so much.
All right.
I know it's still early, but
We'll wait till the next
thank you. You as well.
mission status update. But for now, we can look at what happened with Doge. We had a dip last night with Doge, but also Bitcoin also dipped down. Bitcoin's dip came down to 43,200. And then this morning came back up over 44,000. Dogecoin's rise really slow up to about 7.86, now at about 7.82. So for those that were thinking there would be some huge Dogecoin pump, I told you guys that wasn't going to happen. Not there, but it's still a cool thing to watch that rocket ship launch. And again, it's not going to actually be on the moon until February. So we will be covering that, of course, on this channel. I will keep everyone up to date on what's happening with both rocket launches. The second one will be SpaceX's, which is the week of February 12th to 16th right now, tentatively scheduled. So that is the Doge 1 mission. But this is the ULA. ULA's part is done now. They've done their job. And now we've got this piece, which is going to go on to the moon, and it's going to take about a month. So we have a ways to wait until the actual Dogecoin lands on the actual moon. But for this was fun to watch a literal Dogecoin on its way to the moon. It's on its way now. Someone had put something in the comments about, yeah, it's going to blow up or explode. I just think, what do you think? Just, oh, here's an update.
And we are now 235 miles in altitude, 836 miles downrange, traveling at 11,150 miles per hour.
You're welcome, Sianger. Glad you could join in.
Continuously nominal performance from Centaur.
I don't know if the physical Dogecoin that's actually on there is anything special. I don't know if it's a special gold-plated one or anything. I don't have that information, unfortunately. I don't know. It was something the Dogecoin community put together years ago. So.
And approaching the halfway point of this first burn of Centaur, everything looks good.
I have almost 3 million Dogecoin. If Dogecoin goes to $1, I will have $3 million.
Traveling at 11,500 miles per hour.
This is the second time a Dogecoin has been in space. There was one that was, I don't remember whether it was the space. I don't think it actually went to the space station, but there was something a number of years ago that was orbiting around the Earth
This is Vulcan mission
that had a
control
Dogecoin
at
on
T
it.
plus 10 minutes, 7 seconds. Our next event, main engine cutoff, will occur in about 5 minutes. While we wait, I'm joined by Eric Monda, part of ULA's mission. Eric, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Of course. So we're still pretty early in this flight today.
They're all
How
smiles.
the data's looking so far?
Yeah, absolutely. So I just want to say that it was so exciting. I ran outside so I could watch this thing lift off, and that was so cool after so many years of development to watch this thing fly. That was fantastic.
Absolutely, I bet.
Yeah.
So what is the data showing us so far?
Yeah, absolutely. So I've had a very quick look. Obviously, we're very early in the flight still, but I've taken a look at the SRB performance as well as the booster performance so far, and everything looks just spot on, just perfect. Fortunately, we've had a lot of systems on Atlas and Delta for a long time, and so we've had a lot of flight data to anchor our models, and everything is lining up just like we would expect.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So a lot of the audience has seen us switch from this live view of the launch from our rocket cam to this animated representation of the vehicle in space. Can you talk a little bit about why we make that switch and how this visual is populated?
Yeah, absolutely. So when we first lift off, we have...
So at 5 o'clock p.m. today, I will be live again, and we'll be talking a lot about the Bitcoin ETFs and cryptocurrency performance, things like that. We'll get into all that. Today was really just about this launch and a Dogecoin going to the moon. I first started buying Dogecoin in January of 2021 at about 2 cents. And I had about 400,000 to 500,000 Dogecoin at that point. That was like a 2 cent average. And then I've been accumulating more Dogecoin this year, which has raised my average to some number I don't know, because I don't hold all my Dogecoin in one place. I've got some on my Ledger Nano S Plus. I've got some on Exodus wallet. I have some on Trust wallet. I have some in my MyDoge wallet, and I still have some on Robinhood as well. So I don't have it all in one place where I know exactly what my average is after all that. But
So we shut those indexes down again. We are ready to do that, and then start them one more time.
But I'm in the green. I know that.
That's what's going to take Celestis' enterprise mission out to deep space. So let's talk a little bit about where these things.
Yeah, I think Robinhood started in 2019. Low roller. I think that's when they added Dogecoin. Robinhood added Dogecoin in 2019, and yeah, could have bought Dogecoin for under a penny. But I didn't then. Yeah, no politics here, Jimmy. That's right.
What can everyone expect?
Plus, when you're talking about things about Dogecoin, we're having fun too. And I know it's money, and people get really invested in their finances. And but with Doge is the one where you can really have fun, and that's what I love about Dogecoin. Is that the only cryptocurrency I own? No, not by a long shot. I own a lot of other cryptos, but because I support blockchain technology, all things related to crypto, and I talk about that on my channel all the time. So join in on my live streams, and I do videos every other day as well. So try and keep people up to date on what's going on, try and educate, and have some fun at the same time. I think I first heard of Bitcoin about 2015.
Down to a nominal MR.
Crypto CEO, it depends on what I'm looking for. If I'm looking to buy, I go right down to 5-minute time frame. If I'm looking to sell, I'm in the 5-minute. Generally, I use the 15-minute overall, which is what you see here on the screen for Dogecoin.
1 minute.
But for RSI, I'm usually at the 2 hour, 4 hour, or daily, depending on what I'm looking at. Everyone makes mistakes along the way with crypto. Nobody gets it right the first time. Yeah, you can share, Phil. Absolutely. Bitcoin price is settling back down.
This is Vulcan mission control at T plus 15 minutes, 30 seconds. We are approaching the first main engine cutoff. Let's listen in.
Coming up on Miko 1.
If Elon Musk incorporates Dogecoin onto X Twitter, I don't think we wait until 2025. If that happens in 2024.
We have cut off both engines for normal shutdown signatures. We have settling established, 85% duty cycle. We are now in a 27-minute, 51-second coast duration to second burn of Centaur.
This is Vulcan mission control at T plus 16 minutes, 20 seconds. We just heard flight commentator Rob Gannon confirm successful cutoff of the first main engine, and all systems continue to operate nominally. Our next event, main engine start 2, will occur in about 27 minutes. At this time, we'll pass the broadcast back to the NASA team to continue with mission coverage through the coast phase. We'll join you back in as we approach the separation of the Peregrine spacecraft. Over to you, Megan.
Thank you, Amanda. Congratulations to you and the ULA team so far. If you're just joining us, welcome to the Space Coast of Florida, where we just witnessed the first launch of NASA's
Dogecoin to the moon.
A magnificent,
It's on its way.
Magnificent sight. Leaves me speechless, apparently. Just really lighting up the night sky and loud enough to set off a couple of car alarms nearby. CLIPS is short for Commercial Lunar Payload Services. It's a new model in which NASA contracts space on commercial missions to send science experiments to the moon ahead of us landing astronauts there. For today's launch, NASA selected Astrobotic to deliver its 5 lunar instruments. This is the first mission for its Peregrine spacecraft.
I think the radio Doge is going to be incorporated into Starlink somehow.
It lifted off from Cape Canaveral Space,
which would be awesome for people who don't have true internet access, can still trade cryptocurrencies, particularly Dogecoin, and use it as a currency. That would be awesome.
Good morning. It's a thrill to be here.
Yeah, what do you think of the launch?
It was amazing. Yet another beautiful ULA launch. Totally spectacular. It's super exciting to know that now our Peregrine 1 lander is on its way to the moon, and in about 2.5 weeks it's going to go into orbit, and a few weeks later from that, in mid to late February, we're going to actually see it land, and that will be the first, well, actually it'll be one of the early landings on the moon since Apollo over 50 years, which is pretty amazing when you think about it. U.S. landings on the moon.
Yeah, it is. And the CLIPS is new as well. So talk to us a little bit about this program. We're using commercial companies to send science instruments to the moon for us. Why is that?
Yeah, I'm really excited about this program. It is a game-changing program for us. It really is leveraging industry in new ways.
Yeah, they're not going to talk about Dogecoin. Switch.
And I think this is just yet one more step.
No, it was confirmed.
So our commercial partners are actually delivering this
by Astrobotic.
Delivering our payloads and other organizational payloads, whether it's other companies, whether it's
Astrobotic.
Even if you want to procure the service and deliver a payload to the moon using the CLIPS program.
And so there are 20 payloads flying on the Peregrine spacecraft right now. 5 of those are NASA's. Can you tell me a little bit about what?
Oh, they were just retweeting the ULA stuff.
Yeah, so again, amazing service. So our payloads are going to be studying things, including understanding,
But they did reply. There was a reply last night that the Dogecoin was on the rocket.
future when we have humans back on the moon.
See if I can find it real quick.
To see what we do with this initiative and this launch here today.
Thank you so much, and let me just
Peregrine
say,
Mission 1.
go Vulcan and go Peregrine 1.
Yes, you could totally say that. Thank you so much. All right, so when Peregrine lands on the near side of the moon on February 23rd, it will be one of the first lunar landings for the U.S.
Still February 23rd for the lunar landing.
Years ago. Let's head back over to Astrobotics, Olivia Chapla.
Thanks, Megan, and what a great day so far. So for those of you just tuning in, I wanted to reintroduce myself.
Here it is, Astrobotic.
Director of Marketing.
We get so many messages and comments. It's hard for us to get to it all. We do have a Dogecoin in the Moonbox program.
Just watched our Peregrine lunar lander rocket into space aboard a United Launch Alliance.
Astrobotic confirmed. It's on.
Peregrine spacecraft's mission is to carry 20
The Peregrine
payloads
lander.
cargo to the lunar surface from 7 different countries. 6 of those nations have never reached the moon before. Our aim is to autonomously land on the lunar surface a few weeks from now.
Yes, we have to wait till February 23rd for a Dogecoin to actually be on the moon. Today's was just the launch. The moon's kind of far away.
At that point, we will seek to establish communications with the lander. And now
By the dip and wait.
Full journey to the moon with an animation. Once ULA's Vulcan rocket launches, we will then know the exact day the Peregrine spacecraft will attempt a soft landing on the moon. The first landing attempt could be anywhere from 10 to 60 days from launch. Because this is Peregrine's first ever trip to the moon, our team is not taking a direct path. Peregrine will first complete one Earth orbit so the team can get critical data on the spacecraft and test maneuvers before executing a very critical milestone.
I didn't know that.
Entering lunar orbit. Peregrine will orbit the moon at 3 altitudes. The first orbit will last about 33 hours. Peregrine's second orbit can be up to 35 days. The spacecraft's third and final orbit around the moon will last 48 hours. Next up, Peregrine will attempt a soft landing on the lunar surface autonomously. The team will issue a landing sequence that will command the spacecraft to enter a descent orbit. About 15 kilometers from the lunar surface, an exciting powered descent begins. While we wait for the Peregrine spacecraft to separate from the Vulcan rocket and begin that exciting journey to the moon, I have Astrobotics founder and chief executive officer,
it's about a month to get there.
John Thornton. Hi there, John. I understand you are currently at ULA, just a stone's throw from where I am now, and we both just saw ULA's Vulcan rocket achieve liftoff with our very own Peregrine aboard. Tell me, after waiting for this moment for years, how are you feeling?
It's a dream. This is the moment we've been waiting for 16 years, and I'm standing in mission control, and we just had a beautiful launch. Thank you, ULA. So excited. We are on our way to the moon.
This is the CEO of Astrobotic.
You and everyone else are
Cool.
in a really, really excited buzz today for sure. So tell me, what else do you think is the most important thing about our Peregrine mission today?
So this is the beginning of the dawn of a new era for the surface of the moon and how we think about space. This is an opportunity for commercial payloads to fly to the surface of the moon on a regular, routine basis. That means our nation's scientists can access the moon never before possible. And we are seeing the beginnings of that right now as we speak on our journey to the surface of the moon. Our first mission carries 20 payloads from all over the world. 6 nations on board the mission will touch the surface of the moon for the very first time. It's a phenomenal, exciting mission to be a part of, and it's a real honor to be here today. And I could not imagine a better start to the mission.
That's true. And what do you have to say to the Astrobotic team and to all of the payload customers who made today's mission possible?
For 16 years, we've been pushing for this moment today. And along the way, we had a lot of hard challenges that we had to overcome. And a lot of people doubted us along the way. But our team and the people that supported us believed in the mission, and they created this beautiful moment that we're seeing today, working incredibly hard to make this possible. I can't thank
so Denise, you did DCA, brought your average down.
Our team, our
That's good.
suppliers, our partners that have made this moment possible today. It's an unbelievable feat, and it is the culmination of all of everyone's effort coming together for this moment, believing in this possibility that a small company in Pittsburgh, of all places in this country.
Yeah, Charlie, we buy and wait. You have to be patient with
Thank you, John.
Dogecoin.
Well, I'll let you get back to the team that are in Florida with us as we wait for the Peregrine spacecraft to separate from Vulcan's rocket in about 30 to 40 minutes.
He didn't say
Now
Dogecoin.
back to
Thanks,
Megan.
Olivia.
Oh, thank you.
Now, CLIPS missions are.
Should have been his favorite payload. Should have been the Dogecoin in the moon box. He didn't say it. That would have been a great opportunity.
To the moon for the first time since Apollo. So ahead of humans, we want to get up as much science exploration and technology experiments as possible.
So CLIPS starts facilitating a lot of the early science, the things we want to learn before we can send humans. CLIPS stands for Commercial Lunar Payload Services, CLP.
The services part is the key element. Ordinarily, when NASA delivers a payload to the surface of the moon, they do it with a commercial partner, but NASA
Hi, Samir. How are you? From Singapore. Welcome.
providing the service of delivery of our lunar payloads to the surface of the moon.
It is a delivery service, akin to a delivery service that you
It's 3 in the afternoon. Huh?
on Earth.
NASA will provide payloads to a commercial company.
There will not be a Dogecoin flag on the moon. Nope, sorry.
It's meant to
It'll be interesting to see on the SpaceX, the Doge 1 mission and that CubeSat, whether there's actually a Dogecoin logo on the satellite that's going to be orbiting around the moon.
Somebody has to do it first, and then it becomes commercially available. Then they're able to crank them up. Then they're able to make it more affordable. And so the lunar surface is just the next frontier for a commercial environment.
Oh, you stay awake to watch my videos. Thanks, Samir. Appreciate it.
We have accepted the risk that going through this innovation.
Yeah, I'll be on about 14 hours from now.
That there could be some failures. Some of them are new companies. None of them
We'll be
are
talking about spot Bitcoin ETFs, the altcoins, and Dogecoin prices, what's happening. Maybe we'll hear something today about BlackRock and Fidelity and all these others, but I'm counting on Wednesday, and that's what I've been saying since October. It would be January 10th. They're just going to wait right to the end. So I'm not expecting anything later today. I'm expecting Wednesday. And I'll be live this afternoon, and I'll be live again Wednesday afternoon.
It's a risk posture which is more risk tolerant than NASA is accustomed to. There's not a single one of these companies that's willing to.
So Jaden, there is a Dogecoin on that rocket heading towards the moon. Now, Dogecoin in space on its way to the moon. Yeah, Samir, all altcoins. There's a few that have been performing well. Again, we'll talk about that at 5 o'clock. We'll get into all that. Looks like VeChain is up. I can just see that on the screen there. VeChain has got a little pump going. Where's the VeChain chart? Big move from VeChain. Whoosh. But not Doge. And I didn't expect it. And there were a lot of people hyping Dogecoin that with this rocket launch, there was going to be a huge pump. And I was like, no, I never said that. So we wait. You have to be patient with Dogecoin. I see some people in the comments saying, Doge not going anywhere. Doge is dumping, blah, blah, blah. Have to be patient. We learned that in 2021. There were people who were selling Dogecoin at 3 or 4 cents in March, after that initial jump from less than a penny up to 8 cents, January, early February. And then in March, it was just around 3-4 cents. And it was just kind of sitting there. People were tired. They were like, Doge is done. They sold. And then it pumped in April and May. So I'm just holding right now. And I've talked on previous streams about my my targets for Dogecoin's price of when I'm going to start skimming some profits. But until then, I'm waiting.
For a closer look at landing, I'm joined now by Mike Hennessy, Educational Director of the Moonshot Museum in Pittsburgh. Good morning to you.
Good morning. It's spectacular to be here.
So see if this guy talks about the moon box.
Absolutely. So talk to me about Peregrine and the spacecraft we have you on, because you know a lot about Peregrine and this mission. Why is that?
Well, every day I've had a front row seat at Peregrine under construction.
It's going to be about 3 weeks to get to the moon. It's going to go into 3 orbits. The Peregrine lander is scheduled right now about February 23rd.
To become that next generation of makers that take us to the moon.
That's fantastic. And you also brought us some props here. So these are different parts, different materials that make up the multi-layer insulation. That's what goes around the spacecraft, right?
Right. That's the thermal protective space blanket for the.
Come on, buddy. Say Dogecoin.
Number of different materials here. This is Astro Quartz. It's a woven ceramic fiber, very heat resistant. We've got aluminum, which is great for reflecting solar heat. And this is also aluminum.
I actually slept for a couple hours, AJ, and then had my alarm set. So then I got up. So I had a couple hours of sleep. Now I'm just living on coffee.
The multi-layer.
Yeah, we've got the multi-layer insulation, and that's wrapping these fuel tanks, kind of like cosmic baked potatoes.
And why do we need all these different materials?
Well, the moon is a harsh environment, and it takes a lot of technical know-how to land there. There's no atmospheric blanket like we have on Earth. So we need a thermal space blanket to protect against wild temperature extremes, boiling hot days, freezing cold.
Say Dogecoin.
And Peregrine's engineered to endure that.
Okay, so now we know how it will be protected during landing. How will it land? What technologies are we using to make sure that it lands safely when you say that the moon isn't the easiest place to land on?
Right, and that's my favorite part of the story, because this robot is going to land itself. Because we have about a 2.5 second signal delay from the Earth to the moon and back. It's like having a self-driving car going to another world. We have a full suite of sensors, gyroscopes, Doppler, LiDAR, star trackers, and a really cool technology called terrain relative navigation, or TRN. About 9 miles out, Peregrine will activate its camera. And as it's descending, and the camera is taking pictures, the computer will be playing kind of a high-speed game of flashcards. Comparing those pictures to 3D maps, and then Peregrine will have to make decisions.
I hope they do that live.
We're going to test drive this technology on Peregrine, and then on Astrobotic's next lunar lander, Griffin, TRN will be in the driver's seat when we head to the moon's south pole.
Oh, that's fantastic. And I know Griffin is going to be delivering another NASA payload, so another partnership where we get to do this together.
Yeah, I think another great example of how CLIPS is bringing together entrepreneurship and accelerating the pace of science and taking us out into the solar system.
Mike, thank you so
Yes,
much.
I'm going to be live for SpaceX launch.
All right, so the Astrobotic team hopes to land on the near side of the moon on February 23rd in a place called the Bay of Stickiness, a lunar feature formed by ancient hardened lava flow. It's located outside of the Gruithuisen domes, which is the largest dark spot on the moon. Why does NASA want to conduct science here? Well, on Earth, formations like these domes need significant water and also plate tectonics to form. But without these key elements on the moon, lunar scientists have been left to wonder how the domes formed and evolved over time. We'll, of course, have coverage of the landing on our NASA Plus app or whichever social platform you watch us on. Now, earlier in the show, we told you about the Nervous payload from NASA's Ames Research Center. The other payload from Ames is the Neutron Spectrometer System, or NSS.
No, we want to know about the moon box.
I'm Rick Elphick,
Dogecoin.
Principal Investigator of the Neutron Spectrometer.
There's other scientific stuff that's on board. We don't care about that. We care about the Dogecoin. So, Francisco, yes, we have launched. And it is on its way to the moon. We need to be patient. Patience. And even with the SpaceX project, I don't know. If the launch is February 12th, I don't know how long it takes for the CubeSat to get to the moon. And I think also on that SpaceX rocket, there is also a lunar lander on that one as well. But we're more interested in the satellite because that's the Doge 1 satellite. But we'll see about that.
exploration.
Yeah, Miss Bullrun. I wonder if she bought her bonk this morning, or if she had a limit order set. Because bonk did add a 0 this morning. I think bonk actually came back up.
Now NASA has 2
Yeah,
more
it's back
payloads
over
launched
10.
to the moon today. We're going to tell you about both of them in just a few minutes. But first, let's introduce you all to Kriss, Program Manager for CLIPS out of NASA's Johnson Space Center. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Megan. Thank you.
Yeah.
Wonderful day.
It is. We just
Bonk back up over 10. But yeah, it dipped down here to 937. So if she had a limit order set under 10, then she got her bonk at a good price, I think.
Mostly carrying small instruments that help us learn more about the environment of the moon. As we get further into CLIPS and future missions, we'll raise the complexity.
This is the Dogecoin 15-minute chart. We did have 2 drops yesterday in the price of Dogecoin. We went from about 8 cents, came down to about 7.7, which I thought was going to be the support line there. And then last night it dropped below, came down to about 7.4, 7.41 here late last night. So recovered a bit. We'll be following this through the day, and I'll be live again at 5 o'clock. And so that's going to be, 14 hours from now. I will be live again.
So basically, these missions, these instruments that we're sending, they're scouting.
Hey, Matt, how are you? I used to have Million Token. My MetaMask wallet got hacked, and the Million Token disappeared.
Kriss, thank you so much. Thank you for being here.
So yeah, Dave, it already happened.
Less than a few minutes away until the Peregrine spacecraft separates from Vulcan's Centaur upper stage. We're going to go back to ULA for that milestone, but before that, another quick status update on Peregrine from Olivia.
Thanks, Megan. And now I'm checking in on Astrobotic's mission control team. In about 20 to 30 minutes, they're expecting Peregrine to power on and then try to communicate with them on the ground. Peregrine will establish ground communications with
Dogecoin.
deep space, and then we will begin receiving telemetry. As we wait for those milestones,
Dennis, going to be February 23rd when the Peregrine lunar lander gets to landing on the moon.
You'll notice that we've removed the MLI
Takes a while.
multi-layer insulation.
The moon is kind of far away.
Of the spacecraft. Throughout Peregrine's journey, they'll keep an eye on the spacecraft's temperatures, pressures, power levels, and communication system.
Solar panels at the top of Peregrine charge its batteries to power the spacecraft.
Moving down towards the center of the spacecraft.
Are we rich? No,
have a
not yet.
unique isogrid pattern that we've used as an inspiration for a lot of our graphic design for the mission. This structure pattern optimizes the sturdiness of the payload decks while also minimizing its weight. Affixed to these decks are all 20 payloads. 20 individual pieces of cargo from 7 different countries are aboard these 2 main decks. Peregrine has 12 attitude control system engines called thrusters that are used to orient the spacecraft. You can see 4 large propellant tanks filled with monomethyl hydrazine and multiple mixtures of oxygen, nitrogen, or MON, as oxidizer.
Yes, there really is a Dogecoin on the lander that will be left on the moon.
Approaches the lunar surface.
Follow me on X Twitter.
Pressure bed system. Believe it or not, Peregrine will use the majority of its fuel in the last 15 minutes of the mission as we attempt a soft landing on the
Where I
lunar
have
surface.
all of the information leading up to this morning's launch,
to its base.
and the Dogecoin on the moon, the payload on the Peregrine lander.
Peregrine landing on the lunar surface. Peregrine is designed for an autonomous landing. That means it will use complex computing and a suite of sensors instead of human pilots. There are 2 antenna relays and a high-power transponder to relay communications between the spacecraft and the astrobotic team. The relay will connect Peregrine
Yeah,
with
that whole
NASA's
Voyager.
Space Network, or DSN, utilizing the same
That was
missions
tough
that
for
communicate
Stephen.
with the James Webb Space Telescope, as well as other historic
Trying to
missions.
get extra interest
And the last
off
major
of
feature of Peregrine is something you
them
can't
holding
see. It's the hundreds of people
crypto.
who've worked on, tested, and gotten
That
the
was tough.
spacecraft to the launch pad today. A shout out to the team we like calling the Astrobots, and a shout out to our payload customers who are sending their items to the moon with us. Your continued commitment to science and lunar exploration is important for humanity.
Payload customers, Dogecoin.
Peregrine Lunar Lander has 20 pieces of cargo called payloads aboard. You can find the full manifest on the Astrobotics website, but here is a look at a few of the payloads.
Say it, Dogecoin, come on.
Iris rover. This is a student-built rover with a mission to take photos and send them back to Earth as it drives across the lunar landscape. Once Peregrine lands on the moon, Iris will.
Yeah, I still have a bunch of my Doge on Robinhood too.
Carnegie Mellon University payload called Moonarch.
Yeah, Matt, that was tough.
Museum to the moon, comprised of 4
All my tokens gone except for Doge, which was on I had a multiple wallet on MetaMask, and they didn't find that one.
And earthly samples. Next, we have Colmena, a fleet of micro rovers and the first Latin American scientific
Show the moon box.
ever sent to the moon. Consisting of 5 small rovers, it will demonstrate a coordinated moon exploration. Lastly, we have the DHL moon box.
Yes.
Former astronaut Richard Garriott and thousands of others from around the world have sent small mementos to link life's meaningful moments with our nearest celestial neighbor. Now, this is just a snippet of the 20 payloads by Peregrine.
She didn't say it.
Full list on Astrobotics website. Now back to Megan.
That was the opportunity right there.
Away from Peregrine separation, so let's get back over to the ULA team and Amanda Sterling to take us through that.
Thanks, Megan, and thanks to those of you who are still following mission progress of ULA's Vulcan Cert 1 flight. For those who are just tuning in, I'm Amanda Sterling, and I'm here at ULA's Advanced Spaceflight Operations Center.
For those that missed the launch.
Space Force Station in Florida. ULA's inaugural Vulcan rocket lifted off on its first flight test at 2:18:38 a.m. Eastern, and all systems continue to operate nominally.
One minute, 1 second burn.
This, of course, is an animation, not live, but what they think is happening.
And we've begun pressurizing the propellant tanks in preparation for second burn.
Voyager lent money to 3 Arrows Capital. 3 Arrows Capital went belly up.
Coming up on LH2 pre-start.
They weren't investing in FTX. It was 3 Arrows Capital.
LH2 pre-start.
Since I wasn't using Voyager, I don't know what the claim thing is. And
This is Vulcan Mission Control at T plus 43 minutes, 8 seconds. Coming up next is the second main engine start of ULA's Centaur upper stage. Let's listen in.
Change to the start position, everything looking good.
thanks, Samir.
About 15 seconds to mess.
Yep, I made vids all through the bear market, AJ. I was here. You can see them all on my YouTube channel. I was making them.
Full thrust. 2 good engines. Everything looking good.
This is Vulcan Mission Control at T plus 43 minutes, 57 seconds. As we approach Peregrine separation, let's learn more about the first spacecraft to launch in NASA's new CLIPS initiative to have American companies send its science experiments to the moon.
And Dogecoin.
Astrobotic is a full-service lunar company. It starts with our terrestrial testing. And
He didn't say Dogecoin again.
Build propulsion systems and test propulsion systems on Earth, to the sensors that make precision landing possible, to our rovers that will deploy down on the surface of the moon, to one day our power systems that will deploy on the moon and provide sustaining power for the infrastructure on the surface. Astrobotic is in all of those businesses, and we are in the business of making space accessible to the world, and the moon is just the beginning. The big thing that we're known for is our 2 lunar missions to go to the surface of the moon. Our first one is
Dogecoin
second one fly.
To Mars.
Peregrine mission is important because it's among the first commercial missions to return to the surface of the Moon. This is the first time as a nation going back since Apollo.
Dogecoin hanging out at 7.7 cents.
That could land on the surface of the Moon with our mission.
It is going to be possibly a very exciting week for cryptocurrencies, particularly Bitcoin and the spot ETF approval, which I've been saying targeting January 10th, which is Wednesday. So I'll be live both Monday, 5 o'clock East Coast time, and then Wednesday, 5 o'clock East Coast time. I think Wednesday is going to be the key day.
Peregrine's development was a years-long process.
But we'll talk more about that.
People like engineers, welders, and technicians who designed and built the spacecraft. Landing a spacecraft on the Moon is very complex. The team worked long hours to get Peregrine to the launch pad.
I know, Sanger, altcoins have been bleeding out against Bitcoin.
It's a little surreal. It's a moment
leading up to the spot ETF. Altcoin season will come back though, and I will be showing that on the charts at 5 o'clock this afternoon. We'll be looking at that.
Our Peregrine lunar lander starts its journey to the Moon in Florida on a Vulcan launch vehicle. That will blast us into translunar injection, heading us straight out to the Moon, where we will enter lunar orbit and start our descent down to the surface. At this point, engines are firing, all eyes are tuned in, and as we soft touch down on the surface of the Moon, that marks the beginning of our surface operations and our payloads deploying. As a nation and as a company,
the SpaceX launch should be more exciting for the Dogecoin community because it's SpaceX and the mission is called the Doge 1 mission. That will most definitely have more of an advertisement for Dogecoin. And maybe if the rocket launch is like the middle of the day instead of the middle of the night, that might help.
Here's Rocky.
All right.
30 seconds, phenomenal, Miko.
Next update. This will be the last one for me. And then I'm going back to bed. Because I got to see you guys again. 14 hours.
Open loop on PU. Coming up on cutoff. We have cutoff. Everything is looking good. And we are now in a 2-minute 49-second coast phase.
It won't to hinder. It doesn't help Dogecoin's price.
Got full settling going. After Miko. And we're reorienting to spacecraft sub-attitude.
CRISPR. I don't know what that is, Charlie. No people on this. This is all going to be done remotely. No, it was confirmed. Astrobotic confirmed last night. Dogecoin is in the Moonbox. That's for KI family. Bitcoin is there also. Astrobotic did confirm Dogecoin last night on X Twitter.
And we're inside a minute and a half to spacecraft separation. Body rates are nulling out.
There it is, right at the top.
And this mission does call for a roll spin for spacecraft separation of 0.5 degree per second. We'll be starting that maneuver shortly.
This is Vulcan Mission Control at T plus 50 minutes, 10 seconds. Vulcan has executed all mission events expected, and we are now approaching delivery of the Astrobotic Peregrine commercial lunar lander into a highly elliptical orbit, more than 220,000 miles above Earth to intercept the moon. Let's return to flight commentator Rob Gannon as we approach separation.
We are spinning down.
Did it?
And we are now in a 28-minute coast period, the third burn of Centaur.
If you go to Astrobotic,
This is Vulcan Mission Control at T plus 51 minutes, 6 seconds.
you go to
We
replies.
just heard confirmation of Peregrine spacecraft separation. I'm now back with ULA President and CEO, Tori Bruno. Tori,
And you scroll down in the replies because someone in the Dogecoin community asked Astrobotic about the Dogecoin and they responded right here. Blocky Doge said, I just wish Astrobotic, ULA, and NASA would acknowledge that there's a Dogecoin on the Vulcan rocket. Astrobotic replied, we get so many messages and comments, it's hard for us to get to them all. We do have a Dogecoin in the Moon Box program with posted replies and a photo. So that is there. Astrobotic has confirmed it. Thank you, AJ. Appreciate it. Don't forget the lawsuit that Elon had to fight.
I know that too. So again, thank you so much for joining us on our show. Congratulations. I'll let you get back to finish the rest.
Last I've heard on that Elon lawsuit is that they are still trying to get that thrown out. So we'll see. But yes, this is what the payload looks like right here. If you go to my X Twitter account, follow me at KrissPax. And there's a photo of the physical Dogecoin and the other stuff that goes with it. That's all in the moon box.
Pass the broadcast back to the NASA team to continue mission coverage. We'll be joining back in as we approach the final engine burn. Over to you, Megan.
Thank you, Amanda, and well done, ULA team. So throughout the broadcast, we have been telling you about the 5 NASA payloads that are flying on this mission. We've shown you in depth 3 of them, and now we have the final 2. So NASA's Goddard Space Flight Center has 2 payloads aboard today's flight, and one of those is the Peregrine.
I'm just going to talk about the NASA stuff that's on there. All right. So, Dogecoin has recovered from this dip last night. Now at 7.79. It looks like this recovery is following Bitcoin back over 44,000. So Bitcoin over 44K. I expect to see some good trading on Bitcoin here into Monday in anticipation of the spot ETF. Over the weekend, I think we saw a lot of this downward pressure that was really for liquidations. Again, we'll be talking about this more at 5 o'clock in about 14 hours from now. And that we had a lot of leveraged longs here that just got liquidated. This is how cryptocurrency trades. The market makers push the price down, liquidate the longs, and provide those that want to buy Bitcoin, Doge, and other cryptocurrencies at lower prices. That's how the game works. Crypto has always worked that way. I use the word manipulation, even though you're not supposed to. I tell it like it is. Prices are manipulated down. Those that are doing leverage trading, whether you're long or short, because the shorts are getting liquidated now as the price is going back up, because there are people shorting crypto as well. And they get liquidated too. So looks like Stacks price is to $1.75. Someone just lost on that. Gala. So yeah, liquidated up, liquidated down. Dogecoin's manipulated big time. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. The whales know how to manipulate. Normally, the price of Dogecoin follows Bitcoin, but there are times when it is liquidated even more, or the longs are liquidated or shorts are liquidated. So, stock market is manipulated too. That's right. Unbelievable how the stock market is manipulated, and you're not supposed to talk about it. You're not supposed to use that word, but yeah. Yeah, people who sold Dogecoin because they thought it was crashing here, you're going to miss out. Now, again, not a financial advisor, but I've been through this before, been through this manipulation before. We are still at the beginning of a bull market in early 2024. Same place if you look at the Dogecoin chart from 2020. 2021 was the big run for Doge, and this time it could be late 2024 or into 2025. So if you're selling because of this minor price correction or whatever this is, well, then maybe you're not cut out for crypto investing. Too many people are expecting these crazy gains that nothing is guaranteed. Nothing's guaranteed. Dogecoin may never go up to 74 cents again. We don't know. That could have been a one-time thing. People who just expect it to go to $1, you don't know if that's actually going to happen or not. So, I mean, even Bitcoin, like 69K or 100K, 200K, what are these people are talking about? We don't know that for sure. In my opinion, there are unrealistic expectations about the prices of these cryptocurrencies, but they can. The possibility is there to get a 2x, a 5x, a 10x. The possibility is there, which is why we invest. But you got to be patient, guys. You got to be patient with it. These little moves here are really little moves in the long. I mean, look at on the daily chart what we're talking about here. We're talking about this. On the daily chart, it's a small little red candle here with a big wick down and right back up on the daily. That's what we're talking about here. This downward action in the price of Dogecoin, again, we'll talk about this more in 14 hours at 5 o'clock, but that downward movement there in the price is a combination of Bitcoin going down, but also wiping out leveraged longs. Leveraged positions get wiped out. Jason, hey, good morning. You made it. You missed the launch, but we were live all through the launch and the separations, 2 separations that happened. We were live for all of that. It was all very exciting. I'd never seen a rocket launch in that level of detail before, but that was cool. That was fun. And we will do that again for SpaceX. And then we will do it again for the Peregrine lander landing on the moon when the Dogecoin lands on the moon on February 23rd. Right now, there is a physical Dogecoin in space on its way to the moon. And they did a nice little animation of the Peregrine lander going into one huge orbit around the moon, back around Earth, because it's going to gather some sort of information, come back to Earth, and then it's going to do 3 large orbits around the moon before landing on the moon. So it was a nice little animation that was there about an hour ago. That was pretty cool. Yeah, if you concentrate on your Dogecoin portfolio and what the price is now versus where it was a year ago, and you compare it to Bitcoin, yeah, there's a big difference, huge difference. Again, we'll be talking about that in the Doge Bitcoin pair this afternoon. Huge difference. But wait, what does this mean in terms of like where Dogecoin could be though? When Dogecoin runs, it runs. I'm going to be on board for that when it runs. We don't know. Yeah, a lot of longs got liquidated. This is for all cryptocurrencies. If we look at just Dogecoin, this is on the CoinGlass chart. If we look just at Dogecoin, you can see that this is an hourly chart. There was $1 million in Dogecoin alone that got liquidated here. This was about 8 hours ago. And then when Dogecoin dropped, that was the first drop yesterday. And then last night, when there was the second drop, we had in the first hour $750,000 and the next 400,000. So that's over $1 million. And now, as the Dogecoin price is going back up, shorts are getting liquidated. Because what happens when the price of Doge starts going down, right? Well, people start shorting it thinking it's going to go lower, and they're getting liquidated. There's just in the last hour, $260,000 liquidated in short positions on Dogecoin. So again, I'm just like, buy and hold is the best strategy for cryptocurrency investing. DCA, buy and hold. If you want to play these games, trying to trade with leverage, like some of these other guys on YouTube do, yeah, you might hit one or two every now and then. And like, wow, I made a 10x on this or a 15x on that. But then the next time, you're going to do it again because you're a gambler. You're going to do it again and you're going to get wrecked. That's what this price movement was. That's what this was in Bitcoin. And look at it, on the daily chart, you can't even see it in Bitcoin because Bitcoin is in this ascending wedge here that is really all about this Bitcoin spot ETF that's going to take off, I think. And I've been charting this here for a couple weeks, that this is what's happening with Bitcoin. But if we look at the 15-minute chart on Bitcoin, you see this drop here. That's liquidating long positions in Bitcoin with leverage, getting liquidated. And then people hop on board with the price going down and they start shorting it. And what happens? Price comes back up and the shorts get liquidated. Happens again and again and again. Yeah, George is really good about crypto history and he knows a lot about cryptocurrencies. But in the past couple of months, he's been doing all of this leverage trading. And it's not good for the newbies to be watching that, in my opinion. Because they get all excited. They see George making money on these leverage trades and they start they're going to get wrecked. So be careful. Be careful out there, right? Now, he can afford it because he's making a crap ton of money off his YouTube channel. He gets 5,000 to 6,000 people in each of his live streams twice a day. He's making big money there. He's already paid for his new house. So now the new money that's coming in from his Google ads, right, on his YouTube channel and all of his other things that he does, right? To him, that's free money. So he's playing with it. And even he does say that, and every once in a while, he does mention that he lost some on some of his trades. But more often, he's talking about how much he's gaining on leverage trades. So yeah, be careful. Be careful out there. A low roller says the retail investors are not here yet. And that's going to happen with Dogecoin when Dogecoin does something that is going to get the media's attention, mainstream media, something huge like Tesla or X payments, X Twitter, something like that. the retail traders are going to come in and Dogecoin's going to go crazy. But until then, it's just Doge is just going to follow the crypto market. And so far, we've seen not as successfully as Bitcoin. 2023 showed us that. Bitcoin had a great year and Doge's wasn't so great. But that was with most altcoins. There are some altcoins that did very well. The layer twos like Optimism, Arbitrum did very well, as well as a number of others like Say, and we can talk about them later. But yeah, there have been some that had very good years, even better than Bitcoin. I mean, look at Bonk, right? Bonk came was practically dead, and then this fall just took off in price. So there's some of those too. Hey, MetaMan, how are you? Yeah, so you can scroll back on this stream and you can actually watch the launch because it's here. This stream will become a video on my channel, but the physical Dogecoin is on its way to the moon now. It's on its way. So, yeah, bonk. I told you guys after that Coinbase pump that bonk was going to crash. I sold my bonk at the top. I rebought it after it went down lower than my initial buy price, but I'm down on that now because bonk has gone down even more. But that's what happens. So, hey, thanks for coming, Francisco. Appreciate it. We'll see what happens. I'm going to go to sleep here in about 4 minutes. A few more minutes if you guys have any last questions. Otherwise, I'm going back to bed. I have to work tomorrow. I got some work to do. So, but this was fun. Something a little different, right? Rocket launch, Dogecoin to the moon. We'll do it again for SpaceX. We'll do it again for the landing on the moon. We'll have some fun with that too. Yeah, my bonk, I've got 700 million. I'm not at 1 billion yet. But to add 300 million more is a lot cheaper now than it was 2 weeks ago. I bought that second batch too soon. Yep. I had a limit order set that I thought was going to be a low based on the charting, and bonk went lower. That happens. We'll see. So the launch was today about an hour ago. You can scroll back on this live stream, or you can watch the video because it'll become this live stream will become a video on my channel. If you look under the live, you go on my channel and you click under live right there, that this stream will be there as soon as I end it as a video. And so about an hour ago, we watched the launch together, and there were a bunch of interviews, some animations showing the whole flight, what it's about, how it's going to fly, all of the flight path and all of that. So that's all on this about an hour ago. Yeah, I bought ADA too. My average price on my Cardano is 24.5 cents. I got ADA at a good price. However, I sold Solana to buy the ADA. Solana had already started pumping, and I took profits on Solana. Solana went higher. Somebody on Twitter has been calling for Solana to go back down to $70. It touched 85 here last night. Solana was 85. They called the top at 120, and they said Solana's going down to 70. 85, that was a big drop. If anybody bought Solana at 120 up here, this was on Christmas Day, December 25th. If you bought Solana up here, it's going to be a little while before you're back in the green on that. In Doge, we just have to wait. We just have to wait. Yeah, this was a big drop here on January 3rd for Doge. That was a big drop. Liquidated millions of dollars of long positions in Doge. Just got liquidated. But then the second drop here, again, we didn't even go as low as we did here on 3rd of January. I guess the wick came down a little bit lower here. 7.4 versus 7.5. Anyway, we'll talk about this in about 13 and a half hours. So, hope everyone is well. Hope you enjoyed this. We'll be doing some more rocket launches this year. There's a lot of excitement. Dogecoin to the moon. It's on its way. Very exciting. I hope everyone is well. And I will be live again, 5 o'clock East Coast time. Hope to see you there.
Dogecoin, which started as a complete joke, has like skyrocketed to not a joke anymore. It hit an all-time high of almost 10 cents yesterday, but it was so minuscule you wouldn't have understood why you have millions of shares.
Didn't Elon tweet that too?
And arguably, the most entertaining outcome and the most ironic outcome would be that Dogecoin becomes the currency of Earth in the future.